8 treadmill miles banked in these bad boys. Let's talk about them. The Nike Invincible Flyknit, and the Nike Invincible 2. No doubt Nike's most innovative and hyped up daily trainer to date. Includes a full-length ZoomX midsole, coming from those racers that everybody's always talking about spending of upwards to $300 on. Is this daily trainer as innovative and magical as people have made it out to be? After 220 miles, I might have an answer to that. Let's talk about it. All right, let's work with some numbers first. I've put over 227 miles of running into my pair of the Nike Invincibles 2. This was my most used shoe, both daily trainers and shoes in general, in my build up to my most recent marathon at the Harrisburg Marathon, where I ran a 3-hour, 6-minute PB. This is a shoe I used for a variety of runs ranging from recovery, slow runs to easy daily training miles, up to medium long runs and even a long run or two. So did it work in all of those use cases? Sometimes it did, and sometimes I wanted to reach for something else. So numbers. The Nike ZoomX Invincible 2 comes in at my size men's 9.5 at about 10.2 ounces or 291 grams, which is pretty average for a more bulky daily trainer like this. And when I say bulky, I mean bulky. This has a very, very wide outsole. As you can see, there's plenty of landing space in the forefoot. It gets pretty slim pickings down in the midfoot and then widens out a bit more in the heel. This has a 9mm drop of pure ZoomX midsole, so 37mm in the heel, 28mm in the forefoot, and you definitely feel that when you're running. So many people preach that this is a total leg saver when it comes to training. Coming off of hard workouts or working through a longer run, this thing will just keep you bouncing through it. And I would say that's somewhat true. I think the use case of this ZoomX feels a little bit different than what you would expect or feel in the Alphafly or the Vaporfly. This doesn't feel nearly as propulsive or bouncy as it does in those race shoes, which probably has a lot to do with the midsole geometry in those race shoes, as well as the inclusion of things like AirPods or the carbon fiber plate. This is definitely sort of a plodding shoe. I did not feel like I needed to pick up the pace, nor did I feel great when I did pick up the pace for strides or intervals in this shoe. This was purely a daily training and recovery shoe use case for me, with the exception of a couple medium long runs where it definitely got the job done at that easy to steady to moderate pace. But beyond that, I don't think I would be using this for anything beyond moderate pace. This would not work at threshold or marathon or half marathon pace or anything faster than that. Purely a workhorse daily trainer, in my opinion. So who should buy this? I think anyone looking for a durable daily trainer that is in that max cushion category would definitely like this shoe. It is very durable in my opinion. Again, I have run just under 230 miles in this, and as you can see on the outsole, there isn't a ton of wear with the exception of that outer heel spot. Other than that, this thing looks pretty similar to what it did out of the box, with the exception of some typical ZoomX creasing. If you are familiar with ZoomX, you know that it starts to crease after your first run in it. So I have not felt any different in this on mile 227 as I did on mile 1. I think this thing is still going strong, and it will continue to do so, both in terms of the midsole, the outsole, and the upper, which is held up absolutely great. I think this is also an amazing running shoe for those looking for slight stability. So I don't know if an outward stability shoe runner would absolutely fall in love with this shoe, but I think it would get the job done for them, and people who appreciate those sort of natural stability elements in neutral daily trainers are gonna love this shoe. You can see how wide of a base that is, and that's just naturally gonna give your foot more of a landing area, which is gonna create a very stable foot strike. And it has that bit of a rocker there, and it will keep you rolling through your stride in a very stable way. And finally, this is a great winter daily trainer. I don't know if you can tell just by looking at this use of Flyknit, but it is much thicker than the typical Nike Flyknit. If you've ever run in the Zoomfly Flyknit, you know that it's a bit more pliable, a bit more fabric-y and soft, but this feels more rigid in terms of what I've been used to with Flyknit, and it's definitely thicker. It's almost like wearing a shoe sweater when you're out there, and in the summer months you can feel your foot heating up in this quite a bit, especially in a black colorway like this. But this is absolutely perfect for people in cold climates over the winter who need something that's going to give you a soft landing spot on those cold pavements, and a shoe that's going to keep your foot warm from those cold winter winds because of how thick and well built this upper is. So who shouldn't buy the Invincible 2? Well, I think people looking for Nike's version of the Nova Blast, which I think a lot of people thought the Invincible would be, are going to be pretty disappointed. The shoe is not nearly as versatile as something like the Nova Blast, and I think the misconception comes from the use of that premium midsole foam. People hear Zoom X and they think fast, but this shoe is anything but fast. It's a tank of a shoe, it's a boat of a shoe. You're not going to be moving too fast in it, but I think for the use cases that I talked about, like easy daily training miles or recovery runs, this shoe is going to be a great option for you. And this is not for somebody who is pinching pennies, looking for a budget shoe, trying to save money. This is one of Nike's most expensive daily trainers, if not the most expensive. And I think there are plenty of options out there that are $20, $40, $60, $80 cheaper than the Nike Invincible 2 that will get the job done just as well. So what's my final verdict with this? While I don't think it meets all the incredible hype that it got before its release and even at its release, I think it's a tried, true, and trusted daily training option that will help you eat up the miles with some soft Zoom X underfoot. I don't think it's what everyone expected it to be with that soft Zoom X. While it is still soft, it isn't that propulsive, pillowy feeling that you're looking for, but I do think it still serves its purpose as a great daily training recovery run option. And while it is a good recovery run and daily training option, this is not the best max cushion trainer out there. If I were to recommend a single max cushion shoe for somebody right now, I would definitely, without any hesitation, point to the New Balance More lineup, either the Fresh Foam More V3 or the V4. I have both models. The More V3 proved to be extremely durable, getting me to over 600 miles, nearly 1,000 kilometers, and maybe this shoe will be that as well, but I know I will get that out of the More V3, and presumably with a similar iteration in the More V4, we'll probably get it out of that version as well. And since I picked up the New Balance Fresh Foam More V4, I've been reaching for that a lot more than I've been reaching for this shoe. I will of course continue to run in this shoe. I think it will be a great winter daily trainer, but at a cheaper price, both in the old and new iteration with the Fresh Foam More V3 and V4 respectively, I would pick that for a max cushion daily trainer as opposed to this one. So take from that what you will. Those are my thoughts on the Nike Zoom X Invincible Flyknit 2. Did you run in this shoe? What did you think about it? Let me know down in the comments. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Peace.